Congratulations to Nigerians. We have seen the beginning and the end of a particular regime. Now, a fresh page is open, and then we are hopeful and optimistic that we will follow it gradually and see how this this new fresh regime will impact, to our citizens. Well, this is Nigeria Now on Equa Television International. We're glad that you could join us and give us the space for us to do this together. And my name is Sambo Solomon, and I have Joyce Jakarta.
As always, a pleasant afternoon to you. I must say you look good.
Thank you. You look good too.
Thank you. When you were saying congratulations to Nigerians, I was surprised, and I heard you talk about the fact that we've seen the end of a regime, and there was this certificate that was being shared on social media. Congratulations, certificate of survivor. It's been 8 years and all of that. So it has been going on from one person to the other, and I was just thinking about trying to reminisce 8 years. A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. And that's why we are doing this program. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, so just do well to join us as we do this show together. But today we are going to look at, Buhari farewell message to Nigerians. We started with promises and we end with apologies.
That's a big one, if you ask me. I remember that in 2015, when the ex or former president Muhammadu Buhari was campaigning, he hinged on the issue of bringing security in the nation, economy, amongst others. But I think what he heated the most was the issue of security, because remember, bomb blast attacks here and there. But 8 years after, Nigerians applauding, or there are a lot of policies, decisions that have been taken, and I think it was on that note that he said, though difficult, though it brought about hardship, and of which he's apologizing, but he said in the long run there were decisions that were good, and he thanked Nigerians, he apologized to Nigerians. He also asked the political leaders, especially those that have filed some suit petitions against the February 25th presidential election. He asked the political leaders to ensure that they respect the outcome of the ruling at the end of the day. He also congratulated Bola Ahmed Tinubu and said that he is the best of all the other candidates, saying Nigerians actually chose well. But what was striking in all of this was the fact that he actually said, oh, he's sorry for all of the policies or decisions that he has taken that has brought about some kind of hardship on Nigerians. And people are asking the question, so why do things like that if you know that it's going to be hard on the people? Why didn't you look out for measures that will cushion the effect of such decisions or policies, so that at the end of the day we will not, like you said, from promises to apologies? But you won't take away that fact, though a lot of people will tell you that for development to take place, of course there will be some level of pain and that people will have to undergo. But the problem is, what pain are we talking about right now? Because as far as I'm concerned, it might be relative. For some people, they might start thinking of their loved ones that they have lost. Some would think about the Naira policy that came, how they went. Some, they would look at their own businesses. Of course, it affected some business to some extent. So it's relative. It means different things to different people. But the basic point is that he has apologized. But what we are looking forward to is the next, or the current administration, not to end with apologies, but to ensure that whatever policy and decisions that are coming as long as you know that, oh, it's going to bring hardship, you look out for methodologies that you can implement your decisions or your policy without bringing unnecessary hardship on the people. We've seen how that due to this new Naira policy, how that a lot of people have lost their lives because of that. There are people because of hunger and all of that. As good as and as important as this policy is on paper, but we've seen how that it has led to the death of some people. It has disregarded some of the Nigerians that are actually unbanked and all of that. This is just one amongst many other policies or decisions that have brought about hardship on the people. But well, former President Muhammadu Buhari has apologized on that. And not just that, in his Saturday morning speech, speech, he also highlighted some of his achievements in office that include COVID-19 management. He also spoke about infrastructure, like one of which I think is the Second Niger Bridge, amongst many others. He spoke about the petroleum industry, reduction in banditry, terrorism, and kidnapping. He said he did well in that area. He spoke about the battle against corruption. He did well as far as is concerned. He talked about reform that he has actually introduced. But, well, what are Nigerians saying about all of these things? They will tell you these are just opinions that are on the air. As far as Nigerians are concerned, they have their own perspective to all of these issues. But like I said, what we look forward to is a better and a great future.
Sometimes it's funny when you hear, well, he did well, you know, by owning up. Yeah, that's my opinion. You know, by owning up, that's a high level of responsibility. You know, owning up as a leader to say, yes, I'm sorry for certain things that I've done that really people that are governed are not really cool with it. But the question that I ask, is it that now he's back to reality? That's why they say power. Power can make you drunk. Is he trying to tell us he was drunk by power and now he's back to his senses? It's just a question. That's what Nigerians are asking. You know, when you close the borders without creating an option that will cushion the effect, you know, of whatever, you know, your policy may have, you know, generated. When there is no such plans, is it that you just wake up and you just think it is something that you should do and you just went ahead without research, without thinking what are the negative effects, the positive effect, which one is weighing which? These are measures that you look at and then you come up and then you stand strong with it because you know it's for the good. If today you close border, in what sense would it affect the president? Which virtually everything is being done. You are being enjoyed from the coffers of the government. One time in this country, you remember that masses were complaining about the budget for just cutleries in the presidency, which is millions of naira. And people are asking, people don't even have what to eat, but you are budgeting millions of naira to buy cutleries. Not food. You know, if today the hospitals will crash, you know the series of strikes we had during his regime, but he was abroad, traveling left, right, center for medical trip. What happened to the citizens? They put you there. These are some of the questions. Is it now that power is no longer in your hands and then you now remember that, oh, I wasn't doing the right thing? Or people that I trusted to give them those offices to manage were not telling me the truth? And sometimes these are things that we normally tell our leaders. Some of these things, you know, it's like they go to office without a plan. And you go there, you are thinking, when I get there, that is when I will do this. Whatever I find there, that is when I will know how to handle it. And you are here telling us about you did well in the security aspect of this country. That since before you came, your campaign was to remove Goodluck so that you will bring peace. You will deal with Boko Haram in the next 100 days in your office. The next thing we hear after 100 days, you told us you are not a magician. No. First 100 days in your office, you told us you are not a magician. That means you just cajole people to just be there because it was something of a serious matter, issue of security. And people felt, yes, this is a military person. This is a person that is coming with a military antecedents. So they feel, yes, he had some certain commands, even in the military, as a former general. And coming with that experience, they feel he will just swiftly act on it. Now what are we talking? Chibok girls, up to now, some are still in captivity. What are we saying? I think Nigerians should give that scorecard. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. Well, it's my own personal opinion. And I feel Nigerians are out there asking. Because so many people are asking questions that we cannot answer. But right now, he's somewhere. Because he even tells us that when the noise of Nigerians is too much, that is disturbing him.
The former president has arrived, his hometown is in Daura.
Yeah, I'm talking even the Daura. He said when the noise becomes too much and people are disturbing him, he will move to Niger. So we are looking forward to see him moving to Niger because, yes, there will be noise. Because already the noise have started. Now, today as we speak, we are buying petrol at 600. Like I was hearing some Nigerians are saying, Buhari have laid the foundation. So what do you expect? Bola Tinubu have started the building already. And I was like, wow, this is what masses, common Nigerians are saying. Is it what they bargained for? But let's see. You know, like we were discussing, you know, with my boss, he said, that means everything is possible. If after one day, things can automatically change swiftly, like we can see this skyrocketing of a price in petrol, that means if the government really want to do something and really want to bring change and succor to the sufferings of Nigerians, that means they can still reverse it and take it maybe 15 naira per liter. It's possible. It's possible.
Well, it all depends on the political will. And yesterday, being May 29th, it was a day that a lot of Nigerians were looking up to cut across state and even as a nation, because that was the day where a lot of appointed leaders took oath of office. And when you look at May 29th, it's a significant day in Nigeria. Sure. Yesterday, we witnessed the swearing-in of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria. He's no longer president-elect, but president of Nigeria.
16.
Yes, and that's like we had Nigeria as a nation had the 7 transition events yesterday, and it was witnessed by about 7 African presidents. And this is like since the return of power to democratic rule since 1999, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he was declared winner of the 2023 presidential election, having scored 8.7 million votes, which represent 36% of the total votes, while the others were about 25%. And even governors across the states also took oath of office. And but the key thing, even though we know that people were looking forward to the inauguration and all of that, there are still cases in the court. While some people experience concern that why can't we as a nation wait until all of these court cases been settled before we remember the highest honor that was conferred on Tinubu, GCFR, by former President Buhari, and then GCON to the Vice President Shettima. People talked about it. Why can't you wait for all of this? These are honors that you can't take away from these people. But it has been conferred, and just yesterday they were inaugurated, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu is Nigeria's president. But there are actually a lot of expectation. Yesterday I watched Kinley when he was making his presentation, making his inaugural speech, and I tell you valid points from what he actually said, even though as we speak right now, he has one of which is the removal of the fuel subsidy in his speech yesterday. He said fuel subsidy is gone. The conversation right now is not even about the fuel subsidy, because over time we've seen how that a lot of people have advocated for the removal of fuel subsidy. Fuel subsidy have got like a lot of resources from the nation, and a lot of people have talked about the fact that this money can be used in the development of other sector, and it is for the benefit. It has been in place just benefiting the rich, the first subsidy. The World Bank have spoken about it. IMF, International Monetary Fund, have spoken about it. And most of the presidential candidates during their campaign, they spoke about removing the fuel subsidy. And just yesterday, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said fuel subsidy is gone. And after the pronouncement yesterday, it's just unfortunate that we saw a lot of filling stations being closed down. And as at this morning, there were queues almost everywhere. People were finding it hard to get transport, the commercial transport, and some have hiked their prices and all of that. Even though the Mele Kyari, talking about the group CEO of NNPC, have come out to talk that, yes, they have enough. Well, people should not go into panic buying and all of that. It's just normal in Nigeria, and that once you have situations like that, people want to go into panic buying because they don't know what tomorrow has to offer. Maybe, oh, tomorrow you are thinking you won't get, and right now we are seeing queues everywhere. But the concern is not about we have, because that has always been the trend, whether there's strike or there are complaints that there are queues. You keep hearing we have enough for Nigerians. People should not panic. People should not go into panic buying among all of that. Now, talking about even the panic buying, how when it's not even literally not available. So marketers are already going to like hoarding fuel, and you begin to ask the question, was the methodology right? Because yesterday, while the president was making his inaugural speech, he said it was gone, and you expect that a lot of marketers will start thinking, oh, he said June, it's just a day after tomorrow, so it means they will sell at a higher rate. Why sell at a lower rate when I know the next day, the day after tomorrow, I can sell it on a high rate? And as it is in the attitude of some Nigerians to always take advantage of opportunities like that, they will always want to hoard. But I always talk about the fact that when policies are made, when decisions are being made, it is always important you take everybody along, because one will start thinking, was there, even though we know this conversation has been on and on for a very long time, but you will expect that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will have looked at the methodology, looked at other options of cushioning the effect, so that it won't just, because as we speak now, right now, for the people that have already started buying, people are already buying because you have to move from one place to the other. What have you, what are the methodology? What have you put in place to cushion the effects right now? Because whether we like it or not, if there's no control of prices in the market, you will see that almost all prices of commodities are going to be hiked. What happens to the person that is having stagnated salary, or your source of income is not actually regular or something? How do you cope? So most of the time, I heard him in his speech saying that there was no provision for fuel subsidy even in the 2023 budget. But I think in the 2022 budget that was passed in 2022, there was provision for 3.6 million naira for fuel subsidy, which is from January to June. And so I think that should be cleared. There was actually provision 3.6 million from January to June. So effected from, it is actually from June that it's supposed to be out of place. But a lot of times we talk about the common good of Nigerians. When you look at leadership, when you look at governance, it's about the people. So what are the things that we are doing to cushion all of this effect? This is just one amongst many other things that he has talked about. Yet he talked about the creation of job. He spoke about the exchange rate, unifying exchange rate. He talked about the fact that his government is going to consult and dialogue. It's not going to be a government that is going to dictate. He talked about building and not injuring the nation. He said he's going to govern according to the rule of law. He's going to defend the nation from criminality that threatens our peace. And I think one thing that stands out for me across the inauguration is the fact that people kept talking about the peace of the country, security. When you go to Kaduna State, when the governor was taking his oath, he spoke about his governor after his oath in his inaugural speech. He spoke about dealing with security. And we know Southern Kaduna is one part that suffered insecurity. And he said he's going to prioritize that. Plateau State is one state that has economy prospect. But because for some unknown government or terrorist group, the frequent killings, it has like taken away, yes, that economic prospect in the state. And I saw Barrister Caleb Mutfwang talking about the fact that he needs to deal with the issue of insecurity. And until this issue of insecurity is dealt with, then we cannot utilize the economic prospect in all of these states. The same thing with Benue State, where you have Father Alia also talking about we can't have development without dealing with the issue of insecurity. You recall that some women were beheaded some weeks ago in Benue State. In Kano also, we saw the governor governor that took an oath talking about the fact he needs to unify, they need to unify as a state, and so that they can work together for the common good of everybody. And Enugu, the same thing. So almost all these governors kept talking about security, security. Without security, you can't have any development.
Sure.
Even if you have the developments, maybe project and all of that, it will not be noted if people are being killed. And that's why the primary responsibility of every government is the protection of lives and property. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has talked about the fact that he's going to deal with the issue of criminality so that Nigerians can enjoy peace. Beyond all these promises, like we said, in 2015, we had all of that from President Muhammadu Buhari. This is like the first time we're seeing that a government like APC, a lot of people felt that after these 8 years, Tinubu, Buhari will be handing over to another party, but it is from APC to another APC. So we hope to have a better Nigeria. We hope to have a Nigeria that will work for the common man on the street, not just for few selected individuals. We hope to see a Nigeria that the people will be at the forefront of the leaders, not just about personal interest. And if we have that, then we'll have a great nation.
You see, those when rolling out his agenda, you know, brilliant, very brilliant, and you know, the only fear for Tinubu is just the issue of age that is not really on his side. But if not, you know, seen as some of the things that...
But is age actually a barrier? We've had young people that, like President Yar'Adua,
yes,
was not old, but he actually died in the office. I know that a lot of people pointed that as a challenge. Oh, he's old, he cannot, we don't want old people. But we've had instances where, yes, you have the younger person, but he didn't like live to the end of, not really perform, because President Yar'Adua was, I think, one of the great president we had with good ideologies and ideas like that, but his tenure was short-lived because he lost his life in the office. So a lot of people are concerned, oh, this man is old and he might not, and all of that. But well, I just feel maybe age is not really a barrier. But
yeah, age is not a barrier, but there are certain things that are, you know, they are realities, you know, because just imagine, okay, did you watch the inauguration from the beginning to the end? Ideally, he's supposed to finish the entire parade before he would take his seat, because they are giving him the first presidential salute. But he couldn't finish the first part of it. You know, we watch these things, you know. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. But it's trying to tell you that this country, when we're handling the issue of the election, Jega said, you know, conducting an election in Nigeria is like conducting an election in West Africa. Mind you, it's not the total vote. It's not the total number of Nigerians. We are talking of eligible voters. And
I think the fear is just like the president, former President Muhammadu Buhari, always traveling out for medical trip and all of that. That is the fear, because we've seen several times how President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had traveled out before the election and all of that. And that's the fear as well.
Yes.
But the expectation is for a government or an administration that would defend the constitution of Nigeria and all the details that is spelled out. We look forward to a government that will uphold rule of law, because the oath they took is one oath of allegiance. And oath of office. When you take an oath of allegiance, you are swearing to protect and to stand by the constitution of the country. And then the office that you are taking is to protect, to shoulder everything that concerns Nigerians. And we don't want to see people that will swear by what they believe in and then not standing by it. Because if you don't, then it is like the trust of some of the Nigerians, or a lot of Nigerians that voted for him, at the end of the day, they are going to be disappointed, and every Nigerian will be affected. We don't want an administration that will end up with apology, but an administration that at the end of the day, the people will applaud.
Thank you, Joyce. And we're looking forward to see those applauds coming. You know, my prayer is that as a grandfather, we want to see him, you know, we want to see him When I mean grandfather, he's old enough. There's nothing that he didn't see. So there's nothing that would freak him.
First former governor and a senator to become president.
That is it. So we let him surprise us by the way people see it is our turn, it is this. Let him bring that experience, that age, you know, that he has seen all, to surprise Nigerians by giving us, treating us as his grandchildren, giving us the best, not wanting us to cry. Because a grandfather is, when you see a grandfather, he doesn't want his grandchild to ask for anything and he's not capable to provide. He go extra mile to give that grandchild whatever he asks for. So that's how we want to see him treating us, because there's nothing to freak him like in this world again. For just him to just give back to the society, something to Nigerians, something that they will live to remember him. Well, time is not really on our side, you know, Joyce, you know, because this is the time that this conversation will start coming, because we have a lot of things to deal with, you know, the past regime, and then new ones already are unfolding, and Nigeria now, you know, definitely so many questions will come in, and then here we will talk about them in our own little way. And I want to appreciate you for doing this show with me. Maybe we'll look at some of the issues tomorrow, and gradually we'll be picking one after the other and then dissect them and see what Nigerians are saying concerning it. Thank you, Joyce.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
The viewer there, we want to sincerely appreciate you for giving us your time and allowing us to do this with you. So why can't we just do same tomorrow, same time, same station? God bless you.